welcome to our Empowered podcast with Liliani and Christina.
Hi, everybody.
Today is the first episode of our podcast, and we want to share with you why we're here.
Yeah.
So, I have been having some thoughts about it, what can I do to empower other women? Mm-hmm. And people come to me and say oh, I love to hear your stories. I love to have share with me what you're going through, what you're so wisdom. And, sometimes I don't think that, but, so that's what I start thinking about it, what I want to create. I want to be someone who contributes in life. And then I had that thought, what can I do to, be out there in the social media, overcome my fear of the camera and speaking up with all the accent and all that stuff. And then my Brazilian accent. Yeah. And then I'm thinking about that. And then I said okay, I have no idea how to do a podcast, but it would be so cool to have a podcast to empower other women. And I didn't have that empowerment word in my mind, but that was what was there. And then I said, I see Christina, right? I see you on social media already doing that with your support groups and what you do with your company. And I was like, Christina, what do you know? And I haven't talked to Christina in months, maybe a year, maybe a year or something. Yeah. And I said, what do you think? And then what? She already thinking about it. The same week she had all the material. And so here we are, our first beginning, in our journey, in the beginning of our journey, here we are sharing with you, committed to be vulnerable, committed to expose ourselves. And be judged and analyzed by you. And, with the hopes that we become real for you so that you can be real with us and you can learn with us. We can learn this together and we can go out and make a difference in our children's life, in our family, our friends, our clients. So that's your turn now.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much. I think I understand why you wanted to do this podcast. We both have backgrounds in health, and you were actually a life coach for a while, right?
I actually am. I still do coaching.
Okay, yeah. And so I think, and clearly we are not young chicks. I'm actually 58 years old.
Hey.
I'm just putting it out
my
there.
Body's not, my mind is.
I think that you mentioned that you kind of were following me on my social media platforms, and you noticed that I was, attempting to make a difference in the lives of other women. And yes, that's effectively kind of where I'm at in this chapter of my life, wanting to empower other women. And that doesn't necessarily represent that I have it all together, because I'm still evolving, I'm still learning. Well, clearly we never stop learning, but a tone that I picked up with a lot of what I was seeing was a lot of knocking down other women. Mm-hmm. Or focusing on the negatives in other individuals. Mm-hmm. Women, men, doesn't matter. And there's just a lot of that going on. It's just because we are no longer in front of the person. We're safely behind a keyboard. Mm-hmm. And we can just kind of bye-bye filtering your thoughts. It's just putting whatever comes through your mind out there for the world.
And and hide behind, right?
Yes, you're hiding, essentially, yeah. And so I think we lost the ability to articulate our feelings and emotions in a positive, uplifting way. So that's when you approached me to create this podcast. Even though I was in the midst of preparing to do my own podcast, I felt this was the universe reaching out to me and saying, this is the path I want you on. I just wanted to reiterate that the importance of this is not to slander other people. This is to try and uplift other women, empower mm-hmm. them with tools and information and knowledge that we've picked up in our years of experience, mm-hmm. Both in our professional businesses, but also just as individuals. Mm-hmm. And being transparent and mm-hmm. being vulnerable mm-hmm. and humble. And even though I'm a little scared about it being open to critique. Hopefully it's constructive criticism and not just...
Hey, we're going to learn. We're going to learn.
Yeah.
You know, and when we start, I said to you, I want to be sending the message that there's no right and there's no wrong. That is what it works. There is what works for me, what works for you. Yeah. And we want to create that kind of environment here, right? Yeah. That we can be accepted. Yeah. That and I mean, we do judgment. We are human beings. We do that. So, but what can we put it in place? Yeah. And what can we build up between us? Because like we are reconnecting here. Like we're reconnecting our friendships. We're building up like a new kind of relationship. Yeah. And you have, like, we have so many oppositions in things that, you know, in life.
What you just said? We have opposing views on many things. I think that's.
And I love it.
But because you didn't really know me on a personal level, you kind of, except for the few times, and we're gonna touch on that, how I met you, how I found you. But so clearly, you discovered you had opposing views from whatever it is I'm putting out on social media.
Yes.
And that's okay. So, and that's another reason why we chose to do this, was because we're all going to have different perspectives.
Yes.
But as long as at the end of the day, you can find mutual respect, mutual understanding, and you take the time to listen, to hear what the other person is saying. Yeah. Because in the world of today, with everything going on, we're talking, you know, worldwide, political differences, our differences in our faith, our spirituality. It's always about extending at least respect and compassion. Compassion.
That's the word.
Yeah. So let me start with this segment because it's how I came to find you. So I was in contract with one of the leading aesthetic academies for training estheticians worldwide, not just estheticians, nurses, nurse practitioners. The company's name is 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪, and they hired me as their director of education. So I was responsible for building aesthetic courses, online aesthetic courses. And because I'm in the health industry and the aesthetic industry, I knew that there was this huge movement going on about lymphatic drainage, the importance of lymphatic drainage. In fact, it's my personal favorite, right next to LED, light therapy. It's my personal favorite because it's all about removing toxins from the body, inflammation, and it is like the center of everything. So I said, well, this is a subject I know nothing about. So I set out to find the best in at least Southern California, did a lot of research, and that's how I found you, your company,
Laguna Hills.
Laguna Hills. And so I said, I got to get this woman to help not only educate me, but maybe I can even build the training course around her. So I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, you agreed to it. So that's how I met you. And I was just like blown away by your knowledge and the professional company that you set up, and just everything about it. So that's how I met you. And then, of course, here we are again, years later. It has been like about 4 years. Yeah. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. So you tell them a little bit about yourself, what you bring to the table, the relevance, what they can hope to take away from it, and then.
Well, a few key points about my life where, led me to be here. First of all, I came from Brazil, so I have the passion and the fun and, the whole cultural community and loving for people. I came when I was 24, so I have been Americanized now, 27 years now. Wow. And I also have been divorced. I have 2 children, actually young adults now. My daughter just turned 19 and is about to turn 19. And then for the profession, so I had this passion about being a doctor when I was a kid, but also had businesses. So I had like these 2 sides of me. One was like beauty. I had a chocolate factory when I was 18. Yeah,
in Brazil?
In Brazil. I had that was my first business. I had people selling chocolate, helping me to make the chocolate, and I did 600 kilos of chocolate eggs in an Easter.
Oh, wow.
600 kilos, like 1,200 pounds.
Oh my God.
I bought myself a motorcycle. I mean, I have lots of fun stories. So anyway, so that was like the business part of me, and then the health. When I came to US, I want to do something, and I end up being a massage therapist. So I have been doing I have been a massage therapist for over 20 years now. And throughout my path, I discovered lymphatic drainage. And I grew up with lymphatic drainage. So at one point, I had a spa. The spa closed down. I had to reinvent myself. In that reinvention of myself, I was doing chiropractor school. I had to stop. So there's like, in that reinvention of myself, the lymphatic system is almost like God was moving me in that direction of doing that.
I'm glad.
And then I did all these years, the last 15 years, I have been doing a lot of self-development programs, being a coach, business coach, life coach, and then I did a master's degree into organizational psychology, which had me to and then I did a lot of more specializations into lymphatic drainage, the lymphedema, the diseases of lymphatic. So today I have a business for the last, this business has been almost 5 years. 5 years, has been 5 years. And we're specialized in the lymphatic drainage. I train people and I teach people. That's my passion. So I'm actually put it together, the medical, the teaching, and the business part of it together.
And what's really nice is that in the world today, women can do that. They can combine their business aspect with their passions and become very successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Follow your dreams.
Yeah. So Christina, tell us a little bit about like where you are today in your practice, because I know you have a sanctuary too.
Yeah. Well, so for about 35 years, I've been licensed cosmetologist. So I literally did hair for years. And then I had some carpal tunnel issues. So I started focusing more on the skin aspect of that. And started getting into, just providing treatments, facials, whatnot. And then, like you said, when you're in that realm, typically there's this cross connect between the health industry and the aesthetic industry, because there's so much of it that crosses one another. And after divorce, I was married for 20 years. After divorce, I decided to go back to school because I wanted to start to dive in more as like what's happening on the outside is essentially a result of what's happening on the inside. And I needed to learn more about that. And so I went back to school and became a board certified holistic health practitioner, did my internship with Kaiser, learned a lot about internal medicine and health. And then I decided to come back out to Orange County and open my own practice, Holistic Health Sanctuary, which is located here in Irvine. So it focuses on the whole self. And that's also, with my holistic health certification, I did an emphasis on spiritual counseling. And then also that is also relevant to my faith in God and as a Christian. So I bring that into the table as well. I believe, in a nutshell, I hope to, convey and bring to you, the relevance of addressing your both external self and your internal self to achieve holistic beauty, holistic health, which is of mind, body, and soul. And through this podcast, I hope to bring not only experience from my personal journey, my triumphs, as well as my downfalls and mistakes that I made and what I was able to learn from that, but also just things that I've learned through my studies, through my my surroundings, my collaborations with other experts in the both health and aesthetic industry. And I think we're in a line. I know that you mentioned we have differences, opposing differences, but I think we're aligned in there that we can both effectively and safely say it's the whole person, right? That makes you like to evolve into a better version of yourself.
I would say like what I meant by that differences is that it's like few things that, you know, as we were talking before. For example, you're 58 after menopause. I am 51 starting. Okay. Those, you know, that's like the kind of difference that I'm talking about. And then you like...
She just gave it away that I completed menopause. I think I'm still in it based on the weight gain that's kind of holding on. But we'll address that later on. But continue.
And I think the opposition view, when I start like getting to know you more as we got together, I think that is very valuable, because how many people think of different than us? And then because they're, as soon as they say ah and they just say b, and then you're like, oh, I'm not listening anymore. And I was like, no, like, let me be interested. Like, you know, when I trained my therapist, I said, when they come here, you want to be interested.
Yeah.
What is that is different? Like, and then we can find the common, because like underneath, don't you want to empower women? Don't you want to live empowered?
Amen. There is so much beauty in the world, and I'm not talking world beauty, superficial beauty. There's so much beauty inside the soul of a human being, and that beauty is composed of their struggles as well, their vulnerabilities, their desire to want to better themselves, at the same time provide for their family, you know, their children, their husband, their significant other. And the world tends to kind of knock you down, you know, along the way. So if we can make a difference and help bring, you know,
if we can know, we are making a difference.
Yeah, yes, and we will definitely learn along the way.
Yes.
And I think it's safe to say that, I mean, what makes an expert at something? I think it's a classification that somebody gives you, right? Or it's a self-title, I don't know. But I'm going to just put it out. Here's my first transparent vulnerability statement. I don't think I'm an expert at anything, but I'm good at most everything I attempt. You know, I have a lot of knowledge. I think I specialize in a lot of things. I would say I'm an ingredient specialist. I specialize in, you know, ingredients, skincare ingredients, and I'm still evolving with, you know, as far as alternative medicine. I'm still growing. But there is one thing I'm an expert at doing. And if I don't know the answer to something, I find the answer. If I have to research it or not. So I will never let a person down. If patients come to me and they're you know, sharing with me something they're going through and I don't have the answers, I'm going to get back to them. And I'll be up all night. And it's not because I'm trying to make a buck, because a lot of times my services are just rendered free, because I want to help that person. I really want to make a difference. I want to help them. And I also want to say, experiences that, you know, negative experiences that are part of my memory bank forever, mistakes that I've made, looking back, if I can prevent somebody from making those same mistakes, I want to provide that. Or if it's a mistake that I think perhaps led to the most valuable lesson I ever learned, I want to help people, you know, to extract the positive aspect of that, you know, journey.
You know, it's very interesting. You said like you're not an expertise, or what is the word you used?
I just said I wouldn't class myself as an expert at really anything.
And I think it's awesome, because like we're expecting to reach the public that is engaging with us, with people who they have their profession. They probably are expert in something, right? But we are not expert on any. We have maybe one or two things we are expert, our career or something we're dedicated. But then what about the other things? You know, we all want to make discernment when we make a choice. We all making choice. Daily life is we're making choices, and sometimes we make mistakes because we don't have the amount of knowledge enough to make the proper choice.
That's true.
So like then we're being vulnerable and saying we don't know, we don't have all the answers. We have things that we have been studying. Like everybody else, there are things that you dedicate your time. Anything you dedicate your time and you devote attention to it, you're gonna, practice and learn more. Yeah. And so when we don't have that, then we're gonna go and reach out for who has it.
All right, I think the day that we stop evolving or stop growing or adopt a life philosophy that there's nothing more we need to learn, I think that's the day essentially we die internally. Because we are constantly learning. I love the fact that when I still go to my medical doctor for my yearly checkups, and I bring something to her attention, that she gets her iPad out and she starts researching it. I think that's great. She's not feeding me a line or saying something just because she's, she doesn't want to show that she's not familiar with that, because science is ever changing. And we in the health industry, we know that science is constantly evolving, technology is constantly evolving. It is our burden to consistently educate ourselves. And that's something I think that's made our businesses successful, is because we are constantly researching, evolving in our trade and our profession. And then when we come across something that we're not familiar with, we kind of network with others.
Yeah, and I think this specific point of the doctor pulling their iPad and doing the research is to humanify us. Like, we are humans. We don't need to know everything,
Well, essentially, I mean...
And there are things that I'm passionate about it that you ask me about, like lymphatic system. I can spend like 2 hours telling you about it, right?
Yeah. No, you guys truly are at 𝓲𝓸𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪. You guys truly are the experts at that. I refer you so many patients because you taught me lymphatic drainage, but I, specifically say face, neck, up, but I send them your way when it comes to full body or post-care, people suffering from lymphedema or, so there's, if you guys don't know about that, you need to check 𝓲𝓸𝓷𝓼 out. Yeah. What city again?
It's Laguna Hills.
I don't know why I keep wanting to say Laguna Niguel.
It's okay.
But so I know we're running out of time with this first episode. So who am I? Because we talked about, so I am divorced. I think it's been about 9 years now. I am a business owner. I am a woman of faith. I have 3 beautiful girls, and I have a beautiful grandson who's 3 and a brand new beautiful granddaughter who's 4 months. They are like my pride and joy. And I am a person who basically believe my life philosophy essentially is I believe I am here on this earth to be of service to others. That's how I want to, use my time and my abilities, and to love one another, to contribute however I can to bring, the best out of people that cross my path or I cross their path. And I also believe that people are put in our life, it's not about what they can do for us or what they can contribute, but sometimes it's about what we can do for them, and we will get nothing in return, and that's okay. You have to recognize those opportunities, and I think that's important.
I think that we're always going to get something in return, which is to make a difference and the satisfaction of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to say one more thing as a takeaway, like what we are really committed to created here is to create a space of intimacy, that we get to be known, vulnerable, and encouraged, empowered, and we get you to be known, empowered, and encouraged to have a great life. So here's anything else for you?
I just want to say today's episode was sponsored by 𝓲𝓸𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪 jewelry.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Look at this.
Yes, this is a piece that 𝓲𝓸𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪 made.
Yeah, this is so pretty. It looks so great on you.
Thank you. So they sponsored our episode today. So shout out to Briar Rose, who happens to be my youngest daughter, and patchrose. You can find them on our Instagram. So also let's let everybody know where they can find us. So obviously our podcast is 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪.org. We can be found on our YouTube channel. We can also be found on TikTok. We can be found on Instagram. And this again is from patchrose. So thank you.
And tell where is your place located?
My holistic health sanctuary is in the city of Irvine.
And Lift Bright is in Laguna Hills.
Yeah.
And we're going to have that. So make sure you follow us, continue engaging, share with us what you thought about our first podcast. Yes. What is your story? And we'll love to hear from you. Yes. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.